Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 25 of Lost in Translation. I'm May.
And I'm Jay.
This week, we watched Bombing Mission Mugendramon
Or My Sister's Keeper.
and Goodbye Numamon.
Or The Crest of Light.
Alright, so the first episode that we watched this week is called My Sister's Keeper or Bombing Mission Mugendramon. What do you think is going to happen in this episode?
Have we met Mugendramon before?
Yes, it's Machinedramon, the big metal Dark Master.
Right, okay. It strikes me what it sounds like, and what it probably won't be, although it would be really cool, is that like Machinedramon gets into the real world and starts bombing them. That probably won't happen, but that would be super cool. Um, let's see. So it's obviously a Hikari focused episode as the only sister that exists.
What about if Mimi had a little sister?
No, that was made up.
No, what if she has another family member who's a little sister? Like,
You
we
mean a
know she has a
dog?
little brother. No, she has a little brother, a cat, and a dog. Maybe she also has a little sister.
Well, you never know. I mean, Joe could start inventing more siblings as well.
No,
Wait,
he's done the opposite.
yeah, he loses siblings, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
you could turn one of them into a sister.
Yeah, I guess you could. I mean, they made Iori a girl in the Spanish version, I think.
Exactly.
So
So,
anything can happen.
um, yeah, so they just defeated a Dark Master, go into the next one. Like, they're really running out of episodes here. How many episodes are left?
What episode is this? This will be episode 48.
Okay, so 48 out of 54. There are 7 episodes left? Including...
Six. Yeah, yep.
Okay, so there are 7 episodes left. And for my theory to be correct, the Dark Masters have to be defeated, and then there has to be a bigger dude at the end. But even then, I think that there would be like an epilogue.
Wait, you think there's going to be another guy after the Dark
That
Masters?
was my big guess. They're just these nothings that were a smokescreen all because it feels really weird that um what's his name? Like Piedmon would be your final boss. It doesn't really feel like they should be. But yeah, it could be. Um so even then they've got 7 episodes to deal with them, and we know Piedmon's the strongest, and you have to have like an epilogue episode. So Machine Dramon, whatever, gets a maximum of 3. I would hope less, because he seems a thoroughly uninteresting boss. Or Dark Master, I guess. He's a robot. Good job.
So why do you think it's going to be like? What do you think is going to happen to Kari? Why do you think she'll be the focus of this episode?
I'm guessing that bombs are falling, and that is very concerning to everyone involved.
So you just think that that's the reason?
I can't guess more than that with the title. What I kind of want the bombs he's dropping to be bomb Digimon.
I think there's a baby Digimon called Bombmon who's a looks like a bomb, or maybe it's I can't remember what it looks like. Yeah, it's called Bombmon, and it's
Right.
a Digimon that looks like a bomb. It's a baby.
That's lame.
I'll send you a picture of it.
That's okay. You don't have to.
It looks like exactly what you think it would look like, though.
Is it a? It's just a bomb then. Okay. Um. Yeah. Episode. These titles have not a lot in them, except that you know it's Kari focused because it's the only sister that exists, and you know the third Dark Master shows up.
Right. So, do you think it'll be a good episode? What do you think you'll rate it?
Um. That is a legitimately good question. I think this Dark Master is gonna be really lame. I have not a lot of faith in it. I'm gonna give it a 5.
Right. And anything else you want to say about that episode?
Nope, we've got nothing else.
All right. So the second episode is going to be called "The Crest of Light" or "Goodbye Numamon." What do you think this episode is going to be about?
Well, step one, it's Kari episode, like part two, so I guess they're probably super related. Um, and second, Numamon dies, I guess, and no one is sad, except for Mimi. Mimi's gonna be really sad, um,
So
because
you're saying that the Mimi and Joe group get back together with the Tai Chi group?
well, no, it probably intercuts between them like it did, in the one with Edamon. Just it cuts back and forth. They probably don't join up just yet. I don't think they'll fully join up again until they have to face Paimon.
Right. So you think Numon dies? You think it's going to be Curry episode number 2? Anything else?
That's it. There's like a million Numemon. Why would you ever care if any of them died?
What if they all died? What if it's just the species?
That'd be so cool. Stupid poop monsters.
And what do you think you'll rate this episode?
Um, well, there is a death, which means that they're going to go for an attempt at like emotions of some kind. Uh, I want to hedge a 6. Again, I don't think this villain is interesting.
So you think these are going to be pretty boring episodes?
Yes. Yes, I do. I want to be surprised. The latter half of this season has let me believe that maybe I could be surprised.
All right, so I'm going to introduce something new. How much of a threat do you think Machine Dramon's going to be? Like on a scale between 1 being like a Nomamon and 10 being, I guess, Puppetmon was probably the Edamon or Puppetmon actually being a deadly and effective villain.
Okay, here's the problem, right? Is that uh, he should be actually the scariest because he represents modern weaponry. Like, he should be this just fire cannons, you died, you didn't even see it coming, just the bombs fell and everyone you knew and loved is gone.
Mm-hmm.
But because of that, and because he's so unfair, he's probably a huge idiot and doesn't use his powers correctly. I can't imagine him being effective, because if he was effective, he'd instantly win. So I imagine as a real threat, if you went up to, and you stood up and you said, "Hey, you fight me," oh, he's a 9 or a 10 or whatever. He's a Dark Master. But as like a threat, a la like Vamdemon, who was just not a threat despite being very powerful. Uh, yeah, probably for 3.
Right.
Meramon was scarier.
Merriman was actually pretty scary though.
It was.
Well, at the time, they could probably defeat him pretty easily now.
Did you know that like fire is scary? No, no, but you don't get it. If they were on server, there'd just be a bigger Meramon, which is now on par with them because it's a different place.
Yeah, blue Merrimon. It's a Digimon. It's blue because blue is stronger than normal
Oh no,
fire.
I mean, like my example was Kawagamon, who was garbage tier when they first fought it, and but then they went to server, and there's just a bigger one now.
Yep. Yeah.
Didn't evolve. It's just bigger.
Maybe Kawagamon are just really angry because they always seem to run into angry Kawagamon.
They do.
The first 5 minutes of Digimon Adventure Tri were released. If you do not intend to know what's in the first 5 minutes, then you should then just look in the description or the show notes or whatever, and just skip to the next segment, which will be Postmon Pat. So we both watched them. And Jay, do you want to start us off for how you thought about Try
I
the
think
first 5 minutes?
I think that opening like little speech is massively wanky. Like, oh, the demiurge and the beginning of a universe of ideas. And it's like, this is a show about monsters in the internet. This it doesn't have the dignity you're trying to put onto it.
I think they're trying to talk about the creation of the digital world. Maybe we'll learn about that.
And I feel like you just go back to America and you're like, this is how the internet was invented. And you're like, well, there it is. Good job. Uh, then we get to see that yes, indeed, Ty is totally the main character of season 1. Like in we had a lot of conversations with this at the beginning of the show, which was like, is Ty the main character? Is there a main character at all? I mean, they focus on different people, and then it's kick into Try, which is your big send up to O1, and the big fireworks display at the end. It's like, look,
You
it's
just you
Ty.
just you just called it O1.
I assume that's what people call it.
Nope.
Uh,
Okay, so season 2 is called 02 because it's
oh,
set
sorry,
in the
Adventure.
yes. So it's 0202 because it's set in 02.
Right, I don't know what that is, but okay. So it's a big send up to Adventure, and it's like, look, it's Ty. First 5 minutes, do you see any other kids besides Ty's family?
You see his
No.
mum, which is really great.
Yeah, like,
I'm so happy that his mum's there.
I want drunk dad to show up,
Yeah, he's the best character.
and then I want him to teach Ty to drink.
Well, he's Ty's only 17 now. He can't drink yet for another year.
Really? Is that how Japan works?
I think their drinking age is the same as ours.
But also, drinking age doesn't matter if it's your dad.
Oh yeah, that's right. Maybe is it the same in Japan? Like that sort of you can drink if with your parents.
Hey, look, if I know anything, and I'm a law student, is that if it's legal here, then you can do it anywhere else, and just assume it's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Jeez. So then we see some flashes of some children who look like they're falling down.
Yeah, it looks like they're murdering people, and there are different Digivices, so I have to assume that they're dudes from other seasons who are now dead. Which, you know what? That's a hell of a way to start your like movie to set the stakes really high, which is, all right, remember all those guys you liked from season two? They're all dead now.
Well, at least they're not retconning them, right? I can just imagine Toei this like sitting at like a meeting together and saying they don't want us to retcon 02, they want 02. Oh, we're
We'll
gonna
give
give
a
them 02.
yeah, I feel
We'll
like
kill them.
why no, it's acts of spitefulness. They're like, "Oh, well, we could retcon it, or we could viciously murder them.
And it looks like Iori has grown about a centimeter in the past like 3 years. So congratulations.
I agree about this person. I have no idea.
We
Do you
also
mean the guy from King of Fighters, whose fire burns himself?
no, I mean Iori, which is Cody. But we also see a very small flash of a Digimon called Maikumon, um, who is presumably Glasses Girl under Bridge's thing, which I think that's Mako. So Mako's Digimon is called Meikumon.
Well,
Um,
that's convenient.
yep, very. And he's like rushing through a bush, and his little cat.
Cats are
Um,
dumb. Don't trust them.
I like dogs. Dogs are good. But yeah,
Oh,
Meikumon looks cool.
dogs are pretty sick.
Like unless he's just the existing Micmon, which is like brown Tailmon. But that'd be pretty boring. I don't think he's that.
You'd hope it would be like Persona, where when they introduce like a new season or new characters, even personas that are known, like the creatures that are their pals for everyone who doesn't know, even the ones that are already known from other seasons, they still get new looks and they still act differently because
Mm.
they're unique to the new characters.
I mean, I think we also see we've seen Micromon's in training form, and it looks a lot like Nyaromon. So that is strange. Nyaromon is Tailmon's in training. It's like a yellow ball that's a cat.
I will just take your word for it because I don't know.
And we also see a flash of, I believe, Alphamon. Could be another Digimon.
Yeah, the one with the weird Garurumon slash Wargreymon arms. That's probably it.
For Postmon Pat, we have a tweet from Wu Qinglong who says, with all the Chrome Digizoid coming up, have you considered looking into the different colors of Chrome Digizoid? And I kind of had like a brief look, and it appears to be from the Holy Beasts, and there are different colors with different strengths. And I'll link the Digimon Wikia link from in the show notes. But yeah, I didn't really have time to super go through it that much. But yeah, it appears that different Digimon have different types of Chrome Digizoid, and it has like different strengths. Like some are stronger against another, and some are like can't interact with another Chrome Digizoid, like it's immune to it. And some are like can break through it. I think like the one that Zudomon had against Metal Edamon, and the one that can't break through is Wargreymon on Metal Seadramon, I believe.
I'm gonna be totally real with you. That sounds like the fakest thing ever. And I'm not saying that because it's just kind of silly that there's different colors. I mean because the Digimon in the show know what Chrome Digizoid is. They've discussed it enough, and they've never expressed concerns or indicated in any way that the colors are relevant. In fact, they've acted the opposite. They've acted as if the colors are irrelevant. Because if you knew that, say, silver was less strong than black in the situation of Metal Edamon and Zudamon's hammer, wouldn't Metal Edamon be like a little concerned seeing the stronger one there? But he still thinks he's indestructible, in the same way that Metal Seadramon, looking at Wargreymon, doesn't seem to be concerned at all that his colors are different. I think
Mm.
I think this is made up, and I mean obviously all fiction is made up, but what I mean is, yes, we could say this is part of the canon going forward because it's introduced somewhere else, perhaps in the novels, etc. But the show has evidence to the contrary, where it clearly doesn't exist as a concept. You can't pretend that the Digimon would know what Chrome Digizoid is and not understand that the colors have varying strengths. That would be ridiculous.
Yeah, and it does sort of just come up like as of like episode, what was it, 42 that they first ever brought it up. Like it does sort of comes up and like it's a thing now and like everyone should automatically know what it is. So
I
they don't sort of like say, "Ah, yes, the ancient Chrome Digizoid," and they don't explain it like
I
where it's from.
thought it was hilarious how like matter of fact it was. And actually, as far as a writing of fiction goes, that's fine for I think it was Metal Sagermon who introduced it to say, "That's what I'm made of. You're screwed," and not have to explain it. But then one of the kids should have asked, what is that? And had it explained to them. But he just goes, I know what this is. And Wargreymon says, I know what this is, and they never approach it in the show.
Yeah, that would have been a good moment to, explain something like, "Oh, Chrome Digizoid is, whatever, whatever, whatever." Like they didn't really explain it.
That's
They just
fine.
sort of said they just sort of assumed the kids would go, "Ah, Chrome Digizoid," and just sort of nod their heads and say, "Ah, yes, the Chrome Digizoid."
It's fine if you want to introduce it as your essentially adamantium replacement, because adamantium's the thing that you don't really need to explain. It's like,
Mm.
oh, look, it's an unbreakable metal. But once you start introducing the fact that some beats other ones and they're recognizable, it's like, okay, why would the characters not know this thing that would be super common knowledge?
See, I'm just wondering when they're going to introduce Mozilla Digizoid,
What? What?
like Google Chrome, Mozilla Firefox. It's a joke.
Do you mean Digizoid Explorer?
Yeah, or that the worst version, or the new version, Digizoid Edge.
I'm going to be completely honest with you. Internet Explorer is better on my laptop than Firefox is. Because back in the day, I obviously put a lot of really, really risky extensions on my Firefox. And at times, if you click anywhere, it will open you onto a tab for some Chinese advertisements that you cannot exit out of.
Geez, like I know people who do that to their Internet Explorer, but not to their
Well,
Firefox.
I didn't use EIE, so it's actually quite plain right now. It's super good.
But you know what's good? Edge, surprisingly.
Is that Windows 10?
Yeah, it's the Windows 10 Internet
Oh,
Explorer
cool. I
because I have Windows 10 at work.
might give it a shot when I
Like it
eventually
feels
upgrade.
like Chrome.
Well, you'd hope so, because the thing about Chrome was that it was really light and just there was not much going on. But then Chrome has this problem where it sees all of your RAM, and it's the same as like me looking at ice cream, and it's like I want all of it.
Yeah, I found that Mozilla did that too. So
Yeah,
it doesn't like just, grab all your RAM and say nom nom nom. It just sort of this is now a tech podcast.
just a little bit. I never understood why, I'm leaving. There's why would Chrome have like five different processors running for 300 megabytes of RAM?
It depends what kind of Digizoid it's using.
You're probably right. I imagine that they have different storage capacities.
Yep.
All right, I think we've
And
accurately covered that.
yeah. So yeah, the next one is Fexmif on the with the will, and he says he wants to know when we'll be reading out the results for the polls next.
Last episode, right?
Yeah, during our adventure wrap up show, which is episode 28, should be coming out end of November.
Great.
Yeah. And then we have a really lovely email from someone called Will,
Hey, Will.
and I wonder if they're with the.
I was gonna say we're reading letters with the Will.
um, so he says, I'm a long time listener, first time writing in. He was initially worried about us being too similar to Poddigis, which of course I was also worried about because I just didn't want to, do the same thing. So I was like, yes, if I compare the ones, that's pretty unique. But yeah, I was really worried that it would be too similar to the other current Digimon podcasts.
Actually, I thought that as well, but for the complete opposite reason is that I couldn't imagine that they didn't watch both shows. I thought we were really, really focused on the differences, and I thought they would just watch them and all, do all that stuff. And realize I didn't realize A, that they didn't watch the Japanese and often didn't even address the Japanese, but also I thought like at least they knew about it. It's really odd actually how very different it is when you bring the
I,
Japanese into it. We could be a completely different show if we didn't even watch the English.
yeah, like that was another thought that we could just watch the Japanese. I'm like, no, I kind of want to address the differences. But yeah, I think that Prodigious do sometimes cover what this is what they said in the Japanese version if it's like a huge change. Like in the second episode that we watched this week, for example, where Waramonzemon is killed in the Japanese version, and he just says, "Ah, you shot my paw," and like because his paw's on the ground, he's actually dead. So they address something like that. They're like, "Oh no, in the Japanese version, he actually died."
I actually kind of love that when you get dubs of things, and this happens actually a whole lot in just animated movies. And because all the acting is done in voice acting, sometimes you'll have a screen and you'll have a voice actor come in from the side, and they're not shown speaking, which means that was added later and not in the original script.
Mm. Yeah, like they do a lot of, oh, there's no silence here and we can't see anyone's mouth move, so I guess we can just put whatever we want here.
Yeah, when Japanese, they really appreciate the aesthetic and
Mm.
let the screen just tell its own story of setting.
Like the water
Japanese,
dropping in the second episode,
yeah, and
which was
just
changed to stupid dialogue.
now you just have Tai being like, and then we went to the desert.
And then Will goes on to say that he has grown to not only just enjoy the podcast, but he's grown to enjoy Jay
So
and
that's what we have in common. I
yeah.
also grew to like me.
And like he finds you more tolerable now because like he
Hey, at least you powered
at the
through it.
start you were very very negative and you were like, oh, I'd rather watch the Angela Anaconda one again and again rather than watch this.
I do take that back. That would be extremely painful.
Yeah, like
But
Digimon's a little bit better than that, sure.
let's be totally fair, and let's be fair to me at the beginning. Those first 10 to 20 episodes are really bad.
Yeah,
Some of them are better than others, but by and large, they're terrible.
like most seasons do have their sort of setup where they'll just sort of introduce the mechanics, they'll introduce the characters.
But the problem is that in any other show, that would take 2 episodes,
Yeah,
and
no, no,
in this show, it takes a full other
yeah,
anime season's worth of
yeah, the
episodes.
entire arc. But in like as I was saying in the other seasons, the setup arc is like much shorter, like only by a few episodes. Like, oh, here's the mechanics. Here are the characters. Here's the bad guy. And it basically happens in a few episodes instead of
It's what it should be because after all, they don't have to introduce what Digimon are anymore.
yeah, because they're assuming that you know what Digimon are.
Yeah, it's in the name of the show.
Yeah. So, and then he says that he appreciates the JoJo reference regarding Bancho Leomon, and he says that Metal Edamon's voice is more sinister in the original, and the dub is more for laughs. Which yeah, I agree with. Like they do try to make him like seem a little bit less scary because he's quite scary.
Well, the dub is more for laughs, is how you can describe the whole show.
Yeah. And then he says the Japanese voice actor of Edamon is a character in the newest episodes of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, which is called Anubis.
I never actually like I watched a bunch of JoJo and I got up to just when like they started introducing the Egyptian gods and I kind of stopped. Because I got the full set of books and I decided I'll want to read through them.
But then you can't listen to their voices.
I'll watch it afterwards when I can appreciate it in its original form and then uh I was originally reading it on my tablet, but the translations were terrible, so I got the full set. It doesn't matter.
Hey Jay,
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is really good.
it's going to be called JoJo's Bizarre Digimon Adventure.
I disagree with you, mostly because it's called Stardust Crusaders.
Nah, JoJo's Bizarre Digimon Adventure. And then Will says that he's looking forward to us covering Zero Two and Try. And I'm also looking forward to covering those.
I can't remember. Are we covering Tri like literally at the end of watching all of Digimon?
It depends how spoilery if it's gonna be to Zero Two. Like if it just has the characters, like I will make you watch it. If it explains what happens in Zero Two, I'm gonna we're gonna either wait till we're done with Zero Two or like I'll do it by my own self.
Okay, so we're not waiting for like Tamers to end and Cross Wars to end and
No, we'll be doing it like
so,
either at the end of when we're done covering Zero Two. So like I think we finish Zero Two in May or June.
okay.
So it's either going to be this year or next year. So it's going to be either in like a month or two whenever I can get my hands on it, or it could be the middle of next year. But we will cover it.
That's good. All right.
Unless Jay decides to quit Digimon.
Look, I've stuck with it this far. I've watched shows I've hated more all the way through.
Like Clanad?
Yes, like
I'm so
exactly.
surprised you didn't like that. Like everyone loves that.
The problem is that everyone loves it, and everyone said it's the most heartbreaking thing ever, and I was waiting for it constantly. Every episode I was so open to. I'm like, okay, show me the emotions. Show me why I should care. And then I realized when it finished that the big tragic thing that happened that everyone obviously brought to tears about, I thought was stupid because it was unfair. And I don't mean unfair, oh, it's tragic. I mean it was just a writing conceit. It's this character has a disease and nobody knows what it is, and out of nowhere it just insta gives her because tragedy. Like it's terribly written.
I liked Fuko though.
Fuko's great, but she's not sad. And like the thing about that show is that it was put advertised to me as the saddest thing ever. And in season one, there's none of that, so it was really confusing to think, oh, saddest show ever, and it's just this weird slice of life school thing.
I think we can all say that Tomoyo is the best character though.
I have no idea who that is.
She was the girl with the long greyish hair
Oh,
who
she was
dressed
sick,
up as
yeah.
a bear. Yeah,
Who goes to America and tries to speak English,
yeah.
and you can tell she's really trying, but that voice actor does not know how to speak English.
Mm.
So they're at like the UN, and you're like, if that was actually being spoken at the UN, A, you'd just speak in Japanese, and B, like no one would know what you were saying. Yeah, I don't know why I haven't gotten into Clanad discussion, but we did.
Yeah.
Clanad's a bad show. Everyone loves it. I hate it.
So Digimon's better than Clanad.
Um, you know what? Yes, because it's exactly what I expected it to be.
Oh, it's better than you
No
thought it
one,
was going to
no one,
be.
no one built up Digimon for me to be disappointed. Everyone built up Clanad, and I was disgustingly
What's there to
disappointed
build
with
up
it.
about Digimon? You say it's a show where monsters fight each other,
You could
and sometimes there are
actually,
children.
you have built up Tamers. You have built it up a lot. I have a
No,
lot of
the whole
expectations.
fandom has built up Tamers.
What I'm saying though is that Tamers has the most likelihood of killing me. Where if it's not as good, that might be me being done because it's the best thing in the show, and if I don't like it, I might be done. But
Well,
there are things in this show that have been pretty good, and Tamers is
like,
better than those, so then I'm good.
so all the episodes of Digimon that you've liked are basically, have sort of similar sort of dynamics to most of the episodes in Tamers.
Oh, then I'll be happy, I'm sure.
But
Well,
I
get
do
there
think
in 2 years.
no, we start Tamers in June.
I thought we had to do Try in between.
Yeah, but Try is only one movie.
Is
Like,
it? I thought it was
well,
a bunch of. I thought it was like six
yeah,
movies.
it's 6 movies, but only one's coming out at a time.
How far between are they?
We don't know. We know that the first one's coming out in November.
Oh, okay. If the
Yeah,
other movies are going to cover the other seasons, or it's all one big
it's
story.
it's all adventure.
Okay, so it's okay. It's a season, just compressed.
Yeah, it's based well, and it's like 90 minutes, I think. So
Oh, wow. All right. So it's 4 episodes each, 6 movies. It's like 24 episode season
yeah, so that's pretty
plus
decent.
plus.
People were disappointed when it was revealed to be 6 movies. I mean, I wasn't. I'm happy with whatever because I just love Digimon.
So people are just looking at that first number and being like six. Aw.
Yeah, because people were expecting like a full 50 episode season, but I'd much rather prefer like 20 fantastic episodes to like 20 fantastic episodes and 20 filler episodes.
Yeah, the problem with the 50 episode season is that
You got to fill a lot.
by and large, you've never got a story that goes into 50 episodes. 50 episodes is so much time. 50 episodes, let's do the quickest math ever. 50 episodes is like, it's almost 17 hours of content.
Yeah.
Which, uh, given a feature-length movie, I don't actually want to calculate that.
That's like eight movies.
It's a hell of a lot of movies. Um,
That's why I like how Cross Wars did it. They had like 3 seasons in the one season, and they were each like 20 episodes long.
if you ever watch any of the really long form anime, it becomes extremely obvious that even if you have the biggest, most obscene story ever told that could not possibly fit into the amount of episodes you're given,
Mm.
then that's a fallacy because it can always fit in. You cut out all the filler and you lose half of it. If you ever try to watch Bleach, that is the fillerest show that has ever existed. It is so fillery that if you actually, that's a lie. Naruto is the fillerest show that's ever existed because there is a distinct point in the first series of Naruto where I believe after about 100 episodes, uh, if you literally stop watching the episodes there, then cut to the second half of the last episode of the series, which is 60 to 70 episodes later,
Jeez.
you've missed nothing. In fact, I did that and missed nothing because no story is ever progressed in those 70 episodes. I don't even know why they exist, to be honest.
Mm.
But yeah, nothing progresses at all, and then there's a big time skip. That's the fillerest thing that I've ever seen, which is more than a season of Digimon in which nothing happens.
I have seen some Naruto, but like only a few episodes, like in the first season.
It's
I still have the ending song stuck in my head all the
there's
time
lots of
though.
them.
No, the first one. Don't cry, 'cause it's all right. That
I
one.
don't remember that one at all, honestly.
It's the first one, and it's just like with a butterfly, and it's like because Naruto has no friends.
It's true, he doesn't, except his stupid cat whiskers on his face. All right,
Cat whiskers are friends. Yeah,
we
onto
are
the tumblers.
really, really getting lost on that one. Okay.
We're getting lost in translation, Mon.
Well, we no, we're getting lost in anime, which
Lost in anime, Mon.
so
That's not
we got
catchy.
an anonymon on Tumblr who asked first of all why we changed from Terriermon to Lotmon, and the answer is very simple: is that I like rabbits, not dogs. Oh, I love dogs, but rabbits are the big thing, and
So
they're the
yeah,
same Digimon with slightly differences, and one's a dog, one's a rabbit.
yeah. So what happened was I was like, "What do you want as like the character to represent you?" And he just went. He just saw a picture of Terriermon and pointed and said that one. And then like
The
I was
bunny,
like, "Okay,
and
yeah."
you
We
were like,
just
it's not a bunny, but okay.
yeah. And then like when we're getting our art changed, I was like, "Yeah, I may as well like this is probably a good chance
It
to
was before
change it."
that. You did the pixel art first.
No, no, no. I did the no, no. I did the pixel art after we got our new art, and
Oh,
that's when I started doing in the episode titles.
right, okay, yeah.
Yeah. So I was kind of like, when we commissioned BR Beeps to do it, I was like, oh, I may as well change it to Lotmon. So yeah, we changed it from Dog Bunny to Bunny Bunny.
They also asked if we plan on playing Digimon World 1 or Rumble Arena 1 or 2 or any of the other Digimon games. And we have played Rumble Arena, I think.
No, I think like as on like like a stream and like putting it on YouTube, which I
One
would
day.
like to do. I would like to do that. I would especially like to cover the Rumble Arena games, like the all three of them.
I just want to V Headbutt all day.
Yeah. I haven't actually. I own the second one, but I haven't played it. And Jay is really into fighting games, so I would like to get his like professional fighting game perspective on the three Rumble
I'm
games
gonna
because
give
I like.
you a quick answer is that if it's like the first one and then it's like Smash Brothers, it's not a fighting game.
I haven't played the second one.
But yeah, well,
Well,
like
I've played a little bit of it though.
if you mean if we're gonna stream them and all that stuff, yeah, someday when we
Yeah.
get equipment and stuff for it.
I
May
have a capture card.
May has
I
wanted to
have a
stream
capture
for
card that works.
years.
Yeah, I have a capture card that's like a good one. It's like $150 or something, and it works with my PlayStation and my Xbone and all of my things.
So we got another Anonymon. They asked, so they stated that Ogremon was always alive. He was just torn apart by Devimon, and by Angemon's staff. And later, he comes across Leomon. He runs because his master was defeated. I think that wasn't entirely clear, but what I'm gonna address is just the beginning, which is that Ogremon was always alive. He was just torn apart.
Hmm.
Most people and Digimon, as we've seen, when torn apart, die. In fact, the death animation that is consistent throughout the entire show is if you die, you explode into pixels. Well, what happened? He gets picked up by Devimon, explodes into pixels, and they all get sucked in. He's dead. The only I could see you reasoning that you're only truly dead if you go to Starter Village and being sucked into Devimon, he didn't go. But the ability to get put back together, even then, Devimon was dissolved, and he was inside that, and he went to Starter Village. So there is no evidence in the show, as far as I'm aware, of how Ogremon possibly survived.
Hmm.
Because even if you're saying he did not die, he was torn apart, well, he did dissolve along with Devimon the whole time. I can only imagine that he was in an egg and he hatched in the 8 years and evolved and just remembered his eternal rivalry, which actually is much more interesting until it ruins his sadness, obviously, at
Also,
Leomon's death.
also, didn't they say like Digimon don't have their memories unless they're with a partner or
They do
something?
say that, but also,
I think we found some plot holes.
oh, there's tons of them. I mean, I've been literally, that's been my job kind of a lot of the show.
Well, it's my job too. Like I do want to find some plot holes because everything has plot holes. Like
Yeah. Oh,
it just
not
happens.
everything. Some things are immaculate.
I'm sure you can find like at least one tiny little plot
Oh
hole in
no,
everything.
like a lot of them. Like a lot of them, I can't name you one off the top of my head right now, but
I don't think
I watched
Danganronpa
so
has
many.
any plot holes.
Danganronpa has so many plot holes.
Maybe I'm just not like paying attention to it in the way I should be. All I know is that trials are annoying, and I'm glad that I'm in a game without trials anymore.
Uh, I think, but now you're in a game with worse characters.
No, because Toko's in it. So,
Yeah, she's great. You're right.
and
You get to see some of the stuff she wrote.
I'm so happy. I love her so much.
All right.
No,
Anonymon.
honestly, no. We need to talk about this. I'm still not like over how many Digimon voice actors are in this game.
There's a lot of them apparently.
There's like Takado, there's TK, um, there's Darulumon, there's Lilymon, there's nice friends you got there, Davis, which is
I
Derek Stephen Prince, who's Impmon and Vmon and Ken, I think, and probably other ones.
I played with the English voices, so most of those I didn't notice.
No, I'm playing with English voices too.
Oh, but okay.
Yeah, so for you, Hiko is nice friends you got there, Davis.
Well, that's about right actually. He would say that. Okay.
I'm gonna have so much fun watching Zero Two.
So the Anonymon also says that they agree that it's ironic how Mimi's arc was about how she has to fight because it's been the right answer to everything. But they also like that they try and gather more Digimon to help them. It doesn't make sense that all the good Digimon do is all the good Digimon do nothing to save their world and expect everything from the kids. Um, that's true, but also you have to remember that there is a huge religious element to this, where there are temples saying the chosen children will come and save you. And the thing about destinies like that is that until they show up, your cause is doomed. Like I'm gonna let them slide on this one because there's nothing you can do to save yourself when destiny says someone else will save you.
Well, Saberleomon and Andromon, they seem to be doing a lot of like freedom fighting and helping themselves. Especially Andromon, he was all like,
Was
"Oh,
it?
I've started my own resistance."
I thought he was running and hiding and waiting.
No, in the Japanese version, he definitely says that like he was part of a one-man resistance fighting against the Dark Masters. Maybe that was just not in the English version.
True, but also that's fairly doomed, all things considered. Like the kids couldn't beat the Dark Masters 1 on 8 when they
Yeah, but
first met
he
them.
didn't know that they were there yet. Like he didn't know
No,
that they were in the
I'm
digital
saying
world.
that we as an audience can't even pretend that Andromon fighting them is even trying, right? Because he's a level under them, because that's because Ultimate or whatever didn't exist at the time.
Yeah.
Uh, and also, yeah, the kids got totally outmatched, like grossly outmatched.
But that just makes it sound heroic what he's doing.
Oh, it's absolutely heroic. But also it's
Andromon's a good character. I like him.
well for a robot.
Except in the dub, how he's just coming down here to fix that drippy tap. Thanks, dub. I really appreciated that.
uh, uh, Another anonymous. In fact, I think we're all anonymous all day on this one.
Yep, we're all anonymous
Uh,
all day.
they said that they like the fact that the kids are affected by the separation and Yamato's actions. Since we see Sora telling Tai that he expects everyone to listen to him as a leader, well, which is a mean thing to say, but shows how everyone, not just Takeru, is affected by it. And
I
I
think there was
agree.
more in the dub
It's
about him being. Oh, you have to listen to me because I'm the leader. He was definitely more forceful in the dub.
that's the main character syndrome we've been on about before.
Yeah.
At the same time, it's not like he's saying this out of nowhere. They elected him. It's super weird that they were like, "You're our leader, Ty. We believe in you." And then he tries to tell them to do something, and they're like, "Stop telling us what to do."
Yeah.
Isn't that why you elect a leader? To be told what to do?
Yeah, and they definitely did that in the a gateway to home or whatever that episode was called.
And I honestly, I take Ty's side in this where he's like, "This is my responsibility as a leader." I'm like, "It is." And so I was like, "Why would you tell us what to do? It's so mean."
And also, like, Taichi's under stress because he's now looking after two 8-year-olds, basically, and he's taken that upon himself to make sure TK is okay.
It's probably much worse that one's his sister.
Yeah. One is his sister who like almost died because of him once, so he's probably a little bit like worried about that.
They
So
introduced that really late. I think
yeah.
Digimon has this huge, huge problem with its
No, they know she's sick. Like we've mentioned that she got
No, no,
really sick and
she
couldn't come
she
to
had
camp.
a cold before camp. Like, let's be totally fair. That was not a chronic illness that they were presenting us with. Digimon has this huge problem where it has lots of like backstory that would be really interesting if you could say it's a callback, and she gets really weak, and you go, oh, it's because she's chronically sick,
She was
but
sick in the prequel.
no, she wasn't.
Yeah,
She was
she
just
was
in tiny
coughing.
pajamas. Oh,
No, she was coughing when she was blowing the whistle. That
I thought it was because she was blowing it too hard. That
no,
happens.
no, I think like she looked sick, and there might
Yeah.
have been a line that she was not well. But I was always under the impression that she had a ridiculously low immune system. Like if she just gets sick, she's gone.
Because
Same
I'm
way
imagining
in
that
is in
now.
Clanad.
Because in Clannad,
Maybe it's the same illness.
no, because in Clannad they were like they got a doctor, and the doctor was like, I don't know what this is. Whereas if they had a low immune system, they would just say that.
Well, it's never
So
actually mentioned what she has. I think in the dub they say pneumonia, but
yeah,
like I think it's just said she's just sick all the time. She's just a sick kid, and that's her trope. Like she's the sick, like angelic little girl trope.
um, she's Jesus. Uh, yeah. My problem here is that Digimon, by and large, has this huge problem where they'll only introduce a plot element as it becomes relevant at exactly at the time, which is what you actually are meant to use those last time ons for.
Mm.
Those are meant to be callbacks to remind you of stuff. So rather than having Tai say in this episode as she falls down, oh man, she almost died once because of me, he should have explained that 10 episodes ago, and then the callback should have been just like, oh, look at this, her falling down. And so you'll understand when it happens again. Writing with some of this stuff in mind for the future would have made the prophecy episode not terrible. But because the prophecy showed up for the first time only in the episode it was relevant in, it became a gross plot device of nothing.
Hmm.
A second last Anonymon says, what partner slash Digimon team works the best? Well, they ask that. My opinion of that is Joe and Gomamon by a
Oh
long
yeah, I would have
way.
said the exact same thing. Definitely.
Because most kids have a partner. Yeah, I would say that
Who's
complements
them?
them, but yeah, who is a mirrored version of themselves.
Except for Sora and Piomon, that's another one that's quite good because
True, but it's toned down.
yeah,
Sora and Piedmon is about affecting Sora's ability to take people in and
yeah,
seek
and
affection
love,
and stuff, but
yeah.
that's very passive. That's very emotional internally, and she is a perfectly functional person without that happening.
Mm.
She's just not quite as happy. Um, Mimi and Palmon are very similar. They're both very fragile and they're both very feminine.
Well, she's a
Arguably,
plant, so she's very
Agumon is a
emotional.
fire lizard, and he's very much this. And same with Gabumon, they're just these aggressive lizards, and I think Gabumon's a little bit more toned down, but he still can be quite, let's just fine,
And they
normally
follow their
violent.
partner.
And
Like they'll follow their partner no matter what,
yeah,
which is both of their things.
Izzy is a smartass like his like
Pretentious, I think the
Mentamon is.
word you're
They're
looking
both
for
they're
is.
both pretentious, and every I think every partner challenges their kid to a degree, except for Gatomon. Gatomon does nothing. Gatomon, I haven't. Have we seen Gatomon and Kari have like an interaction after they go to the
In the
digital world at
house,
all?
oh, in the digital world, I guess she's kind of worried about her. And like, oh well, except for when she says, "Oh, you got a furball, Kari," in the English version.
But like, I feel like she doesn't care at all. They have like no interaction whatsoever.
Well, she
Um,
was able to get to adult by herself, so
she
I
just
guess
doesn't
that
need her.
yeah, she's
Uh,
not really needed.
so, but then let's take it back to Gomamon and Joe. They are polar opposites. Joe is this very he's insecure, arguably, but he's
I'd say anxious. Like
he's
he's very
anxious. Yeah, that's
anxious.
that's the word. He's very anxious, and he has a lot of responsibility, but he's so timid, and he can't really get it out. And Gomamon is a complete opposite, stress-free, little punk kid, pretty much. And
I can jump that building.
yeah, and he encourages Joe to do stuff, and he has a clear effect in improving Joe's life by making him think about more than studying, think about more than running away. Joe's a coward. Gomon isn't, and it's
Yeah.
it's a really interesting dynamic where most of the kids will say, "Oh, we got to go do that. We got to go do this thing. We got to just follow me, Digimon," and then Joe and Gomon. Gomon like climbs on top of him and he's like, Joe, we're going that way, right?
Yeah.
And Joe's like,
Like giddy up.
yeah, let's go.
But I also think, in a way, Joe kind of grounds Gomamon a little bit, so they're good for each other.
For sure, because I guess it's arguable that if Gomon was off on his own, he would have died a long time ago.
Mm. Because he's like too brave.
Yeah,
So he needs that sort of caution. He needs someone who errs on the side of caution to sort of say, "Hey, that doesn't. Hey, let's think about this first."
he's he's not a hero, if you know what I mean.
Mm.
He's a hero is somebody who's brave but didn't die. All right, so I think that one was quite obvious.
Yeah,
Because even say Patamon and TK who do have a fairly developmental
and they also
relationship,
just cry at each other
you just
sometimes.
cry at each other and are both scared for each other and doesn't
But they
really
but they're good for each other because sometimes they'll be brave for each other.
true, but it's them being the same, not them being complementary and different. If TK was standing next to another TK, they'd have the same relationship.
Mm.
And I think that's actually one of the best ways of putting it is, are they replaceable? And I think every Digimon team except for Sora and Piamon and Joe and Gomon, you could just say if you replace their Digimon with a version of the same kid who has the ability to blow fire, you'd end up with the exact same dynamics. Even with Izzy. You'd think like Izzy watching himself from outside would be like, go and talk to Mimi or whatever. You'd figure it out eventually. Um, yeah. Okay, and the last one we got is that they say that Devimon, Edamon, and Vandemon were fighting. Um, they're fighting the Chosen Children while the Dark Master was sealing away the Holy Beast, and I think we've established that. And each of the because the Dark Masters were distracted, want the digital world for their own,
But
which is
Edamon didn't know about the Dark Masters because he
yeah.
was like, "Oh, who are you?"
We fairly distinctly set down that Edamon clearly has no idea who they are. Which actually which is fine because like he's the one who's thematically distant.
Mm.
Like,
He's
okay,
the best one to
you
be
have
on his own.
you have the devil and you have a vampire. You're like, okay, you're both super evil. And then you have Elvis in a monkey suit with his teddy bear and his microphone, and you're like, how did you, how did you become like the feared warlord? And his goddamn electric guitar. Oh, what a cool villain. The best villain in the show. Yeah, so that's how that goes. I'm not sure about Vandemon and Devimon, but I will tell you what I've told you every episode for the last five at least. If the show doesn't tell you, it doesn't count.
This week we published the questions that we're going to be discussing for our wrap up episode, and these are
I should
just
read them.
listen. Yeah, they're just well, I'm going to read them out, so you don't have to. Yay!
I'm really happy.
Unless you want to see the cute little graphics I made, which are just basically
I've seen some of them.
screenshots. Yeah. So the first question is for our listener opinion. What's the episode with the most changes, and what's the episode with the least changes? So it's pretty straight up. Uh, like you might say, the episode with the most changes was Biomon gets firepower, which they basically take away the plot. And then the episode with the least changes, you might say, is the battle for Earth, which is pretty much word for word. They go home. Well, they go from home to the digital world.
I think Skull Greymon one had really few changes as well.
Yeah, so there could be any of those episodes that didn't have many changes, or you might just want to focus on the episode with the most changes. But yeah, so what's the episode with the most changes? What's the episode with the least changes? The next one is pretty straightforward as well. It's a stupidest change of dialogue. So you might just say Mimi's constant reaction to, instead of worrying about something like being sick because she's on a tram that's attached to a Seadramon, instead of saying I think I'm going to be seasick, she says oh, my hair, or something like that.
Oh,
Or,
Triple H, my hair.
yeah, you might say anything really regarding to Mimi, and I've had a few things that are basically like anything Mimi says. So, yeah, you could just, any line in particular that you just remember that's like the stupidest, or maybe it's just the most memorable, or maybe it's just the funniest, just the line of dialogue change that really stuck out to you. So, yeah, it can be memorable, it can be cute, it can be funny, it can be completely pathetic or stupid or pointless. Yeah, so just tell us that. The third question is best and worst episode in English, and the best and worst episode in the original, and do these episode overlap. Like they might be so good you might love them in both episodes, like both versions. Like Flower Power is good in both versions. Playing games is better in Japanese, but it's still the same sort of story as this guy's pretty crazy.
Playing
Just
games is much better in Japanese because of the guns.
yeah, basically it's
And I
because
don't
of
say that
guns.
because guns. I mean it because it makes the villain way scarier. Where you've been dealing with the Digimon throwing their moves around and everything, and they've been fighting my Digimon, and now it's like he's just pointing a gun at you, kid.
Yeah,
He's
like it's
just trying
definitely
to shoot
scarier.
you.
And sort of like the best and worst episode overall, like Japanese and like both Japanese and English taken into account. Because you might say, oh yeah, really bad episode is Biyomon gets firepower because it's boring, but you wouldn't say that's the worst episode overall because in Japanese it's a good episode. So an episode that was bad in both versions and an episode that was good in both versions.
All right.
And the last question is, what's the biggest difference between the English dub and the original? So this can be, a line, it could be a theme, it could be, if you want to say a certain bit of music that got changed, it could be a character, you could just say Mimi, because a lot of people have just been saying Mimi for these answers. I guess the episode one can't be, Mimi, but all the other ones can just be Mimi. Yeah, theme or episode or anything, like the biggest difference that just stuck out to you was like a really big difference. You could just say the Papamon has a gun. You could say the cutting of some clips. You can go into depth with it. You
Yeah,
can
you can answer the question however you like.
yeah. So yeah, those are the four. I might come up with others depending on how I feel, but for now those are the
It's
four.
plenty to talk about. I think we
Yes.
can go on to the episode.
Yeah, so if you want to contact us, we're lostintranslation@gmail.com. We have Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook. You can comment on our thread on With the Will. You can comment on this episode on SoundCloud, or you can message us on SoundCloud, and we'd really appreciate it if you review us on iTunes and Stitcher. But yeah, so if you had replies to those questions, or if you don't remember what I said, they are all our social media accounts. If you want to just flick through and look at them, look at the graphics, they're not very good, they're just screenshots. An artist I am not. So episode 48 begins with Jay's favourite moment from all of Digimon, which is the kids are walking through the desert.
Ah, classic.
And Hikari's coughing, and nobody's noticing, not even Gatomon. They're quite ahead of her, so she's sort of lagging behind because she's coughing, she looks kind of sick. But in the dub, Gatomon notices.
Do you have a furball, Kari? No, silly. I'm okay.
And then Hikari collapses, Tailmon is worried. Hikari says that she didn't say anything because she was worried about the digital world and the real world, and she wanted to help. And then Taiji has a flashback, and then Taiji starts regretting bringing Hikari to the digital world.
Destiny or anything.
Yeah, did you Destiny? So we get kind of like an idea that, this episode might be about Hikari and whatever happened to her in this flashback. And then Tentomon says that he's found something. The children fly on Kabuterimon. They find the city. They go, that's America. That's Italy. That's France. And that's kind of cute. And they sort of, they see the different landmarks. And this bit is kept the same in the English version. They just don't say that's one American city. That's another American city. That's another American city.
I thought it was weird. I mean, I guess you saw the Chrysler building pretty quickly after, and I'm like, how do the kids know that this random collection of buildings was America? That's odd.
Because it looks like the New York Bay area. You know how they've got like that.
The Statue of Liberty.
No, like the circle and it's like it's. I know that there's a city in Pokemon that's based off it.
Okay,
The
sure.
round one in the thing, I think.
What?
I don't know. I
Are
don't
you
know.
okay?
I don't know geology.
Geography.
That was the joke.
Well, you don't know geology either. Let's be fair.
It rocks.
Da 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 da.
I'm full of the laughs today. So the children find a house and they look for medicine. Takaru wants to come with Taichi because he wants to go out and look for a pharmacy. And then he tells him to stay behind and look after Hikari. And then he calls him the man. So that's kind of cute.
You mean the Mon?
No, they said this is the Japanese version. So
Yeah.
of course he didn't say them on because that's a dub joke that they just keep on pushing down our throats.
You the Mon.
So Koshiro plugs in his computer into a telephone's Ethernet port to look up pharmacies. Hagurumon and Machinedramon see the connection and what they're looking for, And then Metal Empire Army move out. So again, we know that this is the field that they're talking about. It's the Pendulum version 5, Metal Empire. But in the dub, it's just they make that army hut, 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 hut.
I actually kind of liked the weird like humming, like a Wizard of Oz, the guards almost.
Yeah, well, it definitely I think it makes them a little more menacing in a way.
It would
It
have
does
if it
get
was
annoying though.
if it was a more menacing like chant, but it's not.
So then we see Mechanorimon, Tankdramon, Megadramon, and Gigadramon. And something I noticed is Megadramon and Gigadramon talk in the English version. Like they'll talk to each other. Like they'll say, "You're ready to blow things up," instead of just being silent. So I guess they're kind of just sort of grunting and growling monsters in the Japanese version, but they sort of, as again, that's the kaiju thing. That's, they're just monsters, but they sort of have to give them personalities. They're still the best Digimon because they evolved from Airdramon.
Boo! Oh yeah, you can see the resemblance actually.
Yeah, well, it's an evolution that makes sense. So there are more flashbacks for Taichi. Koshiro says that he wishes Joe was here. He plugs in his computer again. Mugendramon now know where they are. And then they find the right medicine and the army attacks. But don't worry, in the dub, they say, oh yes, it's basically just an aspirin. It's safe for use. I'm like, thanks. I'm so glad that you had to clarify that. I was really, really worried, Izzy. I was so worried.
Yeah, the medicine. I thought the search for medicine was really interesting, and there's a bit. Maybe it's on the search for food, but I want to mention it now. Um, they're looking around for stuff, and Ty's like, "Where's Joe?" And Izzy's like, I don't know." And Ty's like,
"That's a doctor's kid for you. There's never one around when you need him." Huh?
Yeah, that saying that you can never trust a doctor's son because they're never around when you need them. Yeah.
No, what I mean is like because his crest is reliability.
Yeah.
Which means he should always be there when you need him.
Yeah.
Just hold that against him forever.
So the most adorable thing is in the original version. It's Mechanorimon's voice. Twinkle beam! And they make this cutesy falsetto voice instead of just a robot voice in the dub.
I thought that was really odd, yeah.
Yeah, I really appreciated that. I thought it was really cute. I don't know why they changed it to. I guess it makes more sense to be a robot.
I think in the English they changed it to twin beam. I don't think it's twinkle anymore. I think it's just twin, which is weird because it's one beam.
Yeah, that is strange. I didn't remember what it's called what the attack's called in the English version. I just know that he says twinkle beam in the Japanese version.
I'm pretty sure it's just twin beam in the English, which I mean isn't a huge difference, but it's enough that you're like, why did you bother?
But twinkle is an English word.
It is. You're right, but is Casitas breath is technically.
Yeah, but it's too advanced for the children.
That's true. But, Infinity Claw, whatever it is also English.
Mm. So Koshiro plugs in his computer and he finally realizes how the Digimon are finding them. So then we go to the top of the Spiral Mountain and Piedmon is watching and he says Mugendramon only exists to destroy and he's like, oh, it's a shame I won't get to play with the chosen children. Oh well, adios. They're like, he doesn't care. He just wants them dead. Like he even though he would prefer to have like his own go with them, like he just wants them dead. He's like, Mugendramon. He's not gonna, he's not gonna be like Puppetmon. He's not gonna play around with them. He's gonna just kill them.
And this is a situation where you can really appreciate the way the villain acts because they're in a giant city. They're hard to find. So you go, all right, well he's not going to instantly go up to them and kill them. Whereas Puppetmon had his series of like surveillance cameras, and he always knew where they were at all times. I guess the better question is why doesn't he have those cameras? But he doesn't, and that's fine. You can't necessarily expect him to do that. And he had them traced, but not so much that he could go there himself. And then his big plan, and one that works quite well, is okay. I can't find them. Level the whole city. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, because he just wants them dead. He's as Piedmon said, he exists to destroy.
He does.
Yeah. I mean, he looks like he exists to destroy. So Taichi is yelling at Koshiro, and he looks like he's going to punch them. And then he explains that Hikari almost died when she was in kindergarten because he took her to play football with him because he thought that she was all better because she was watching TV. And in the dub, this is changed to him saying that he just wanted to play football and that's all he was thinking about all day. But he didn't want to leave Kari alone by herself, so he brought her with him which is more like, even though he was in the original, he was just sort of genuine and careless, but he didn't mean to be careless. He thought, oh, she's all better, which, he's 8. He'll see like, oh, she's up, she's all better now.
It's a lot more negligent in the English one.
Yeah, he's just like, oh, I don't care. Like, it's more selfish. Like, I really want to play football. Let's go.
The English is a lot. It's really weird that the English hates punching. Obviously, they edit a lot of it out, but they're a lot more comfortable with the idea that most of Ty's solutions to problems are punching his friends.
Yeah. Well, they can't remove, because if they remove like all the slight references to punching, like they usually remove contact. Like when his mother slaps him, they remove the contact, and like all we see is him holding his face and it's red.
I'll explain this more next episode when there's a perfect example of what I'm talking about, because we'll get there. But yeah, they're all into the idea of him punching people. They're just not okay with showing it.
Mm.
More than the Japanese. It's very,
Yeah.
very weird.
So yeah, Hikari. Then he says that Hikari was barely alive for 3 days, and then in the dub, her illness's name is named as pneumonia, and this is as opposed to not knowing what it is. And he says that it almost killed her. He doesn't really say she was basically in a coma for 3 days. He just says she almost died. So when Kari gets home, she says, "I'm sorry, I couldn't kick the ball very well," and this is basically the same in the dub, but to make it even a bit more heartbreaking, Kari says, "You'll probably never ever want to play football with me again." And I was like, no.
It's cute that she blames herself here. But does it give us more of her character? The answer is no.
No, I think it does.
She's still she's still that, not Mary Sue, that's wrong with this perfect. She's a perfect cinnamon roll in a way that she shouldn't be, because none of the kids are perfect except her.
That's why I kind of don't like her. Like, they make her this sort of perfect character who just like is so selfless and doesn't care about anything, but like she also glows. Is that like I just
Hey, look, she already
why does she glow?
She communed with the gods, right?
Well, I don't think they were said the gods. I think they were just like the overseers of
the overseers, not the gods.
I think they said I'm not a god or something in the Japanese version.
Well, either way, she communed with the spirits. Let's be fair.
Yeah. Well, they communed with her. They like became her.
No, but she communed with them and they spoke.
Yeah.
She glows for no reason. She has never said a mean thing to anybody. She perfectly remembered Digimon entirely. She just never mentioned it because I guess it would be rude.
Yeah.
She has no flaws whatsoever.
That's why I don't like her. Like, a character has to have flaws. Like, I love Mimi, but she has her flaws. I love Joe. He is an anxious ball of love.
And it's really weird because
so much.
I'm trying to figure out what Kari's place is in the show. And because she has no personality whatsoever, and because her Digimon is so useless and has done nothing, and because it's also an angel, every single part of this could have been TK's story. And as TK's story, this is an interesting, because TK's kind of a coward because he's young and he's always been protected. That would be really interesting to see him developed and to take on these responsibilities far beyond what he's ready to take on.
Yeah.
But Kari has always shown that she's weirdly okay with things being crazy, and she just takes it in stride because she has no emotions besides wanting her brother to like her.
I think she's a tiny little bit more human in the original version. Maybe?
Like, the weird thing is, she looks at Gatomon and says, "That's a cat. So I'm gonna treat it like any other cat."
No, she says, "Are you a friend of Agumon's?"
No, sorry, I'm thinking of the English, which is like, "Hey, kitty."
No, I think she still says, "Are you a friend of Agumon?" in both versions.
Maybe.
And so then Koshiro connects his computer again, and he tries to confuse the Metal Empire, and then they just say, "Let's execute Plan Z." And they actually say Z, because they say Plan Zeddo. But in the dub, this is Plan Eliminate. But why not Plan Eliminate? I said Eliminate. So puns, I guess, which, that's what you could say could be the biggest change. You could say from the Japanese puns to the English puns.
Yeah, but we always have to be kind of fair that, like, the puns are always going to be a change because sense of humors are different in different cultures, and just puns don't work the same when you change languages.
I think that the Japanese puns seem to be, I guess, a bit smarter. Like they're just like maybe it's just because I'm not fluent
It's
Japanese
just because we don't
speaking.
know.
Yeah.
It's this. It's like, oh yeah, this word means this word as well. Like that's literally the same thing.
No, but the Sora Mimi joke was hilarious.
Yeah, that's pretty good, but we can't run those as hard because name puns are not a big deal. Uh,
Well, excuse you, my name's May.
yeah, we could play with that around, but there's no puns you can make with TK, with Matt,
You could call him
Sora.
TJ or DK or MJ or KY.
None of those, but that's not his name.
Yeah.
But what I mean is that like
yep.
we don't have quite as many names in English that mean things, especially not things like ears.
Yeah, because I guess the Japanese names are like, I'm gonna call my kid Light, or I'm gonna call my kid Water Child, or I'm gonna call my kid Flower of the Sun, or something. How come we're like one of the few like languages that have names that mean like aren't just words?
I don't think Spanish has a lot of names that mean stuff.
Yeah, maybe. But English is the only language in the world, though.
Yeah, it's true. It's the only one you need.
Yeah. Anyway, so Megadramon and Gigadramon like to sass each other instead of just growling. So I can't remember which one if it says it because they've got the same voice, but it's like,
Can I blow something up? I don't know. Can you?
Oh, thanks,
wow.
year like seven
Sassymon.
teacher.
yeah. And so yeah, so I have it here. Reason number 312 why Airdramon is the best Digimon. It evolves into either Gigadramon or Megadramon, who, funnily enough, evolve into Machinedramon. Like, well, one of the Digimon they evolve into can be Machinedramon if you so desire.
Yeah, but there are other evolution paths, so it doesn't really count.
Yeah, but Machinedramon's pretty cool. Like, it goes from dragon
He's actually
to
really
metal
not.
dragon to metal puppy dragon. Looks like a puppy, though.
It doesn't. That's
Metal
wrong.
puppy Dramon.
It's really weird how he loses the ability to fly.
Can I, like, cosplay my dog as Machinedramon?
That would take a lot of cardboard and spray paint.
Do you remember that ad for Digimon toys?
I don't.
I can't
I
find it
don't
online.
remember it. Why would I remember it?
Because it was really cute. It had, like, it was an
Oh,
ad for,
I
like,
forgot.
figurines.
I have this note here. It just says Hikari really sucks at soccer.
Yeah, so this ad had like had kids like attaching like felt to their pets and like making them like fight and be Digimon, and like the thing of the commercial was, hey kids, you don't need to dress up your kids as Digimon anymore. Like, not kids. Hey kids, you don't have to dress up your pets like Digimon anymore. You can now play with the figurines. I'm like, but I'm sorry, I want to dress up my pet as Digimon. That's way cooler.
Like,
They had like, a dog being Garurumon. I think they like put like metal Garurumon's like outfit on a pig or something. I don't know. I think it was Australian because I can't find it on the internet. And I can only ever find American ads on the internet. Australia doesn't exist.
no, we don't.
So Megadramon and Gigadramon start bombing the city. I don't remember that bit ever happening in the dub, but it was in my DVD version. So again, I did a bit of searching, and apparently that clip was removed in the English version after September 11. But I have this in my DVD, so I guess this is like the version that came out before September 11.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, the bombing episode in New York, oof, it's pretty rough.
Yeah.
As far as I remember, at this stage, Ty returns with food, and the hotel they were staying in.
He returns with the medicine, and then the house is bombed
Yeah,
by Megadramon and Gigadramon.
and then Machinedramon, he discovers that they're not actually dead, and Machinedramon shows up and blows up everything around them,
Yeah.
and they fall into the void.
Yeah, which turns out to be the sewer.
Yeah, which is confusing, actually, but we'll get there. Yeah, that's pretty much how that episode went.
Yeah. So, what did you think of the episode as someone who was new to Digimon?
It was alright. Like, I think that the place is interesting, and I think that the tension of like a bombing campaign is pretty good, but I don't think it lasts a full episode worth of tension. And I think that the introduction of the chronic illness as a discussion directly was really late. Like it was, oh, that should have come out way earlier. Like that should have come out in the first episode that Ty went back and was like, oh yeah, that's why she's sick.
Like, no, well, oh yeah,
Or
well, I don't
when
think they
they're
really
about
know why she's sick.
when they're about to go to the digital world with her, he's like, I'm concerned because of this. And then they
Mm.
go anyway. And so you address the risk, then do it anyway. And so when he pays for it later, you're like, oh, you deserve this. Don't like introduce it just as it becomes bad because it's stupid.
Yeah.
But oh well, that happens.
So, what? How did it compare to what you thought about it in Obnoxious Synopsis?
God, let's see. He gets no. I was pretty much completely wrong. Kari's the focus. She's not even really the focus. And I said Machine Dramon has a maximum of 3 episodes. That is correct. In fact, he has 2.
Yeah. Well, I guess if you include Enter the Dark Masters,
don't.
he has 3.
I don't because that counts for everybody.
So he died I think Metal Sagemon
Metal Dramon
may
had 2.
2 and like 5 minutes if you're in the English version, because he died at the start of the next episode.
You're right. You're right. Yeah, this is.
But also, in the Enter the Dark Masters, I think he might have had the shortest, like, threatening bit. Like, he didn't, hover above and, like, taunt them.
Yeah, he just
sort of
fired
blew them
lasers
up.
at them.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely the least effective of them thus far.
Yeah, which is what you said he would be.
Well, yeah, because at the very least, what's we call it? Yeah, at the very least, Metal Siege was super super scary, and they ran away, and then he killed Waymon. And you're like, okay, that's a big deal, but the casualty in this one is like, oh, Numamon, all right, the poop monsters. I'll miss them, sure will.
That's in the next episode.
Yes, it is, but
Yeah.
and then he doesn't. Metal Siege as far as I remember, personally chases them as far as he can, whereas Messingermon sits back being a general. And usually I'm like, yeah, a general commanding from the back's a good idea. But A, he's a machine, so you can patch all that information through to him, because that's how it works. And the second thing is that, like, he is the strongest one there. Usually a general's just a dude commanding. If he's actually the strongest guy, he should be fighting. Oh, I forgot to mention, there's a really weird line. Actually, maybe this might be next episode, but I'm going to say it now. In fact, I'm pretty sure this is the next episode.
What is it?
It's Piedmon's watching on a screen, and he says, Machine Dramon, he's designed for destruction.
Yeah, I said that part earlier, and then he says adios. He says, like, oh, I guess I won't have time to play with you.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
here's the deal. If he was designed for destruction, that implies that he did not evolve. That he's a machine that someone built, right?
Yes.
So in English, he's not a Digimon. He's a robot.
Yeah, but we don't, like, trust the English dub for
No,
any, like...
really don't.
Like, also, Mimi has a dog, a cat, a sister, and a brother. Well, what do you rate the episode? You said 5 out of 10. So what did you rate it this time?
A 5. For actual progress and for storytelling, I'm giving it a 5. The art was really nice, and I like the setting of like this weird combined city.
Yeah.
But as far as things that actually happened, I'm like, okay, they got attacked. I will appreciate that they didn't. I don't think we had like an evolution fight, which is really nice, but it
I
doesn't
think
make
the evolutions were skipped. Like, we didn't see Angemon.
Yeah.
We saw
So
Angemon. We didn't see him, like, Patamon become Angemon.
no, we did not, which is okay. So a 5 was a good yes. I don't think. I would not be running to watch this one again. I wouldn't even watch most of these again. But
Yeah.
I'd watch playing games again.
Yeah, and Flower Power.
Yeah.
So what differences did you notice when they justified?
I will be totally honest with you. I didn't notice that many. It was
Besides,
very
like, the making them less grunted
There was.
than 20.
This is a joke that wouldn't have come across back in the day, so it wasn't intentional on their part at all. But it's really funny in a modern context because Kari's lying on the ground, and I think she's just been really sick or whatever. And Tai comes over, and she's like, "You mad?" I just couldn't stop laughing. Mashidramon's voice in English is terrible.
Mechanorimon's fantastic in Japanese.
Yeah, the chanting by the Mechanorimons. I like that actually. It could have been better, but I thought it was interesting. Yeah, and it's the line was that he's designed for total annihilation, which implies that he's not actually Digimon. He's a construct, which would be interesting if we didn't already establish that tanks and created machines can't actually hurt higher level Digimon at all. So that legitimately straight up undermines him in the English version. So much so that he should be completely ineffective. You're really
Yeah.
good at killing the kids. This is another situation where this is a very Harry Potter situation where like one man with a sniper rifle instantly wins, just kills the kids. Like they have this whole plan of like, oh yes, the sky lizards with the bomb arms. They'll shoot the city. It's like, no, just find them and use a sniper rifle. They'll never know. They'll never know. Not a single Digimon in the history of the show has thought of the word stealth.
Yeah.
No one
Yeah,
has
I'm
ever
trying to think
snuck
of
up on
something.
them while they're sleeping. That's how you know that they're all stupid.
They're not a Jigglypuff.
Drawing on their faces.
The children are okay. Hikari's looking better. She's sleeping. There's silence and like a dripping tap. In the dub,
How long do humans usually sleep when they're sick, TK? It's tough to say for sure, Gatomon, but I'd guess anywhere between 8 hours and 8 years, give or take a minute or so. Wow, then considering how high her fever is, we'd better get comfortable.
then Kai wakes up and she wants to hit the snooze button and she asks,
So, how long was I asleep for? Let's just say that when you fell asleep, I had 9 lives, and now I'm down to only 3.
She's so awful.
So then Sora was looking for Taichi and Koshiro. Piyamon found Hikari's medicine, and then they go off, and then they hear whipping. Warumonzamon is whipping Numamon, and that we find out that they're slaves to fuel the city. Hikari's crying, she starts to glow, and instead of her just showing pity, she says, "We need more power," and then she passes out.
And then she's not passed out for very long.
Yeah, like, and then all the Numamon notice that she's glowing.
She's just
and-
super
yeah.
weird and glowy, yeah.
Yeah.
For no
and then,
reason.
yeah, Warumonzamon chase after the kids. Hikari goes back to the Numamon and tells Hikari to free them. And her voice changes in the dub, like when homeostasis was controlling her. Like she gets that more mature voice, like, "No, Gatomon, I must free the Numamon."
That's good. They should have a voice change.
Yeah. Because well, I don't think homeostasis is controlling her again. I think it's Kari this time.
True, but her tone should change.
Yeah, but it makes her sound like a much older person. She's not I think that in this part she's still the 8-year-old. She's not like, homeostasis.
Yeah, but she still gains whatever weird Jesus wisdom she gets.
Yeah. So Sora is distracting Warumonzamon. Piyamon can't evolve, and neither can Patamon. Then, in both versions, when she's asked what to do, she says running comes to mind. And this is, I love how it's in both versions. Like, I guess they said, oh, this is a good line.
There's my favorite bit of the can't evolve thing. I don't remember at what stage of the episode it is. I think it's a bit later. It's Tentamon.
Sassymon, Digivolve 2! Kaboom! Never mind. Agumon, Digivolve 2! Greymon! Yeah, I'm Greymon! I'm big and I'm bad! Agumon, your Digivolve was a Digi-Dud.
I love that he's so convinced that he's yelling about it.
Yeah, and then, like, Taichi grabs him and says, well, I'm sorry, your Digivolve has become a Digi-Dud.
Terrible.
So Warumonzamon gets stuck in a wall, and then we go back to Hikari, who is still glowing. The Numamon are worshipping Hikari. Numamon are angry at Warumonzamon, and they attack Warumonzamon to protect Hikari. Hikari glows more. Braveheart plays. Tailmon, Piyamon, and Patamon are able to evolve with the energy. But Gatomon in the dub sounds very uncomfortable with the fact that she's having all this power. Like, she says, someone get me a scratching post. I guess it's also a reference because she's a cat.
Did you know she's a cat?
Yeah, did you guys notice that Gatomon was a cat? I'm not sure if we picked it up, but she's a cat.
Never figured out. When were there's the bit with Izzy and Ty are sneaking around.
Yeah, that's a bit later.
Airdramon is following them. I think it's actually at this stage.
No, it's...
Oh, it's
No,
later than that?
no, yeah. Warumonzamon hides behind a door. Hikari picks up a Numamon, which is kind of gross. And then they thank Hikari. And then I've just got here, why is she glowing? No, seriously. Why is she glowing?
Crest of light. It's got to mean something.
Yep. Crest of Hikari. So Warumonzamon is talking to Mugendramon, and Mugendramon destroys Warumonzamon because he just says, oh, I don't need you anymore. But this is just in the dub, he says, I will give you a reward. And then we see his paw on the floor, and it's like, oh, you shot my paw. So I guess it's saying that, like, he's just a stuffed animal. He just blew off his paw. No problems. He's still fine.
Hey, they disemboweled Monzemon the first time, and he was fine.
So yeah, you shot my paw. He didn't die.
My paw.
Don't worry, he didn't die. He just got his hand chopped off. It'll be fine. That's not violent.
He won't bleed out. He's a Teddy bear.
So then I'm also noticing there's lots of graffiti. Did the newer one do this graffiti?
They don't have hands. They must
They
have
did it with their
smeared
eyes.
poop with it.
No, they did it. These are their eyes. They're like
Ew,
dingly danglies.
gross. Dingly danglies. Yep, you're right.
So Agumon and Tentomon are tired, and Taichi doesn't care. Koshiro says, I'm also tired. Taichi still doesn't care. And
What a leader.
in the dub, Koshiro adds on to, at this rate, our Digimon are so tired, they'll die. So that's kind of like a dark thing for the dub to add.
It is, which is especially weird because death is like not a thing in the dub at all.
So Taichi jumps on Koshiro and is about to punch him, and then he says, somebody is following us. We'll pretend to keep fighting.
Well, in the dub, he follows through with a swing and then it cuts away.
Yeah, it does that in the original.
It does it in both, sorry. But
yeah.
in Japanese, it's always just kind of implied he didn't hit him and he goes, okay, pretend to fight, etc.
Yeah.
In English, he's like, so then why did you punch me? He actually hits him in the English for whatever reason. He didn't have to. It's not in the original. This is the first time where somebody gets punched and they've added it in.
I guess they wanted to make him seem more emotional. Like, instead of, stopping because he heard it, he still went through with the punch.
It's super weird.
Well, no, I think the line was, make sure your next punch is fake or something.
Yeah, but like it implies that the first one was real.
So the fake fighting is a lot faker in the dub, and Koshiro can't come up with anything, so it's like, well, you're a ruffian.
Oh, he's awful.
Yeah. And then this is the part where they try to evolve that we said earlier, which is really good, and I love it. And then, so in the Japanese version, Taichi says, well, if you guys can't evolve, I will fight him on my own. And then in the dub, they change it to like Taichi saying, right, Izzy, to make things fair, I want you to hit me. And then Izzy said, I don't want to do that. But then Agumon and Tentomon both offer to hit Tai for him. So they're adding in this like strange, like Taichi's trying to make things even though, he's being stupid and a Gryffindor and is saying, don't worry, I'll fight this Digimon by myself. But then, thank goodness, it's revealed to be Airdramon, and we find out that he's the same Airdramon, and he's good, and he's been acting as a lone soldier in a resistance, and he's been freeing the cities. And then, for some reason in the dub, he calls Kari Queen Kari? Why would he call her Queen Kari? He's never met Kari.
Yeah, it's very odd.
Yeah. And then Andromon connects his wires to the roof.
I can't remember how the bit where they get to the fight goes is the problem.
Well, in the dub, he says, don't worry, they're coming. And in the Japanese version, he just says, someone's coming. Turns out to be Mugendramon. And he bursts through the wall. And he's like, oh, this is a bonus. I get to kill Andromon too.
Because, he's formed the resistance of one. So
then the other, they were reunited with the other Digimon, and Angemon and Angewoman both save Andromon, and then in the original version they said we should fight together, but in the dub it just sort of said something like along the lines of we'll get you to safety, and then this is changed to a moment where Birdramon says no, let's fight together, and it seems like that she doesn't really care about Andromon because Andromon is. They say, oh, quicker, Airdramon, we'll pull you away to safety. Even though, and this makes Birdramon sound like he doesn't really care.
Well, it's not really her job.
But from the start, in the original, they were like, no, let's fight together. So they don't do any damage. Then Hikari starts glowing again. Then when the Neumon attack, they cover Mugendramon, and Mugendramon kills them all.
They're just instantly annihilated for no reason. Like, he doesn't even fire any weapons. They just disappear.
Yeah, he just swipes through them because he's strong. I guess that's just the thing, like... Neumon is so weak, even though there's like hundreds of them and they're all adult levels, none of them can beat this ultimate level.
And then everyone is sad for no reason.
Yeah, Hikari glows because she loves the Neumon for some reason, and she passes out. Then Agumon warp evolves, and I've got in my notes, is Hikari actually magic?
Yes. Yes, she is.
So Wargreymon attacks, and then straight away devolves to Koromon. And he says, well, I sliced you like an onion in the dub. Mugendramon is split into parts.
He does the Japanese, like, sword slash, and then wait, slide.
Yeah, that's definitely a trope, isn't it? The whole, you did nothing, you can't beat me. And it's like, no, think again, and then slice.
Yeah, it's a very samurai thing. It's very weird.
Did you know if you were cut in bits, though?
You should know. It's very weird that the original fight with Mugendramon went the way it did. If he could just evolve to Wargreymon and win. Like, one shot. It took nothing. He didn't power up at all. He didn't really learn anything. He just kills him. Real
Yeah.
easy. What a terrible Dark Master.
And then Hikari wants to make a grave for the Nomon. And then I think a clip of Piedmon laughing is added into the English version, but I'm not quite sure. I just don't remember it being in the Japanese version.
I do not recall. I watched it very late last night. I should have watched it more closely, but it was like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. My bad.
What did you think of this episode as someone who is new to Digimon?
Honestly, I think that it undermined Mugendramon so much that he went in and died instantly. Every other effective villain has usually had a good shot at the kids, and the kids didn't quite manage. And End of the Dark Masters doesn't count because everyone did that.
Yeah.
And because the kids did not throw everything they had at them. Oh, they evolved into adults and tried to fight the ultimate levels. That made sense.
Well, Kabuterimon did beat it. Oh, you mean idol as in the last adult? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, the fact that there's adult, because I was about to say, well, Kabuterimon was an adult and he beat Andromon, who is a perfect. But I was like, no, perfect, yes, not adult.
But I mean, it's when they entered the Dark Masters, the kids didn't evolve all the way until the last fight.
Yeah, because I don't think, even though they should know straight away that it's the strong one because of the Digimon Analyzer, I guess they thought they were too strong, I guess, maybe.
The kids are stupid, that's it. You're allowed to say that they're stupid, because they are. Let's see, what did I think about this episode? I thought it'd be Kari episode part 2. That was correct. The Numon died, but nobody is sad. Well, that was not necessarily correct. Numon did die. I'm not sad. It would cut between 2 groups. I think so. Like Izzy and Tai underneath, and everybody else running around with Kari glowing for no reason. They won't join up until later. That's not true. They join up at the end. And there is a death, so it did try. And it was like, oh, it's so sad. And I was like, no. They were poop monsters. They were a huge horde of poop monsters. Why would you be sad?
Well, I guess you're meant to feel sad because Hikari is sad.
It's not
and
sad.
People like Hikari, I guess.
Oh no, Wizardmon died. What a tragedy.
I think it's the same sort of way that, she cares about everyone, even if she hasn't met them. She cares about everything.
Ah, what a character. She makes clear emotional connections with people.
She
by
has
caring about
emotions.
everybody.
She has emotions and she cares.
She has generic Costco brand emotions.
So you rated this episode a 6 out of 10 at Obnoxious Synopsis. What do you think you rate it now?
I think it's going to be a 5. And
Really?
yeah, I think it's a lower 5 than the one before this. At least the last one seemed like an effective villain thing. I might actually upgrade the previous episode to a 6 in view of this one.
Okay, so a 6 out of 10 and a 5 out of 10. So that they swapped. You said that the first one's going to be a 5 out of 10 and this one's going to be a 6 out of 10.
I thought this episode was boring. I didn't think it was amazingly interesting at all.
So did you notice any changes? I've noticed that these 2 episodes, we basically ran through them because
I think they're fairly one for one, yeah.
Yeah, they've got a few stupid lines and a few changes, they're just sort of to add humor, but there's no very obvious changes that just punch you in the face.
The big deal was actually the punch in the face.
Yeah, which was added to be more of also the slap in the face they cut.
Yes.
The impact was cut.
So the violence was the big deal, and as it always is, but this is a unique one where the English added violence rather than taking it away, which is really interesting, honestly.
Overall, what did you think of these episodes? So you thought the second one was better?
No, I thought the first one was better.
Yeah, I meant the first one was better than the second one.
Look, this was okay. I'm happy Machine Dramon's dead because he was instantly the least interesting of the Dark Masters. By and large, he's a walking death robot. Okay, do you know what's way more interesting than the walking death robot in this show about walking death monsters? The clown, the puppet.
Yeah.
The sea serpent. He's literally the most generic death robot you could possibly imagine.
Yeah. Well,
and I'm happy he's dead.
You said that he should be the scariest Dark Master, and then you said that you think that he'll be a huge idiot who doesn't use his powers effectively.
And that's not. I would say that's.
I think he uses his powers effectively, and he uses his metal empire. He's just not very good.
Well,
he tries. You have to give it to him that he tries.
I think he tries, but I think he could have tried harder.
He doesn't just send his lackeys. Once he realizes that his lackeys are they're basically bombing the city and they can't, but the lackeys got to find them, and once the lackeys find them, he wants to kill them.
I think the problem is that he lacks patience, because the bombing plan was totally working.
Yeah.
And then he showed up because he just ran out of patience, which is... Yeah. And he has no reason to do so, because he's a robot. That's why he should have been the scariest enemy. He should have been the most effective because he's like a calculating robot with with death lasers. And it's like, well, how do you beat that? You can't. You can only beat that if they're got human flaws, which he shouldn't have, but he does.
And you gave these like you thought these 2 episodes would be a 3 out of 10 out of all of them. Do you agree with that, or do you think it's higher or lower, like on the whole?
Oh, look, the huge problem with rating any episodes is that you've got playing games at the top, which is like a perfect piece of storytelling, and then you have the first 20 episodes at the bottom, which is trash, which you could have combined into 3 episodes and made them good.
Yeah.
So it's really hard because it's not those, right? If that's my 1 to 3 range, then this sticks at the 4 and 5. This sticks at 5 and 4 and 5.5 and that sort of
Yeah.
stuff.
So a sort of a middle, like not the worst thing you've ever seen in Digimon, but not like barely tolerable.
Like I'll give it a few things which I would not compliment anything else for, but I'd compliment Digimon for this. It wasn't repetitive and progress was made.
Yeah.
That
which is
automatically gives it a 4 or a 5, which like is incredible. Like
Yeah, it
even
doesn't
if the
make
rest
you-
of it's boring and makes no sense, like Kari glowing, it instantly gets a reasonable average grade because
It's also
it wasn't
very
worse
unique,
than ever.
like as episodes go. Like we're in a unique area. We're in a city, like in the digital world.
Yeah, although the distinction between a city and a forest is only so much as you interact with it, and only the first episode does that when they're looking for food and stuff.
Yeah. So the Digimon that were introduced in these episodes, we met quite a few, so I'll go through them slowly. First of all, we had Hagurumon,
Which
which
one's
is
that?
the gear.
Oh, it's a magneton or whatever.
Magna. Yeah.
No, there's a Pokemon that's exactly just a gear.
Yeah, Clink, Clang?
Yeah, Clink Clank,
Evolves
that's
into
it.
Clink Clang.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's Clank or something.
I find this thing really boring and stupid. I never liked the here's a machine part with a face.
It's the child version of Andromon. It goes Hagurumon,
It's
and
still
then it goes
it's still really
Gardromon.
lame. It's crazy lame.
What about Tankdramon?
I think we've looked at this one before actually, just in passing. I think it's hilarious. It's like really dumb because if it actually ever fired its nose cannon, it should fly backwards and break itself. But like at least it's kind of funny in its design. It's one of the Digimon where at least the guns kind of made sense, like because
Yeah.
they're part of it. Whereas
about-
like
yeah.
nipple missiles didn't make quite as much sense.
What about Megadramon and Gigadramon?
I think they're awesome. I think those are great. That
Which one's better?
black one,
The blue and yeah, I like Gigadramon better.
they're
Well, it said Gigadramon's stronger.
they're really really sick. Like you could see those as bosses in like an RPG or something.
Yeah.
Or like that's a Persona monster. That's really cool.
Also, I didn't realize how big they were.
Yeah, they're massive.
Like when we see the tail go through,
Oh,
like
all
I
the-
always thought they were big, but not like
All the Sassymon
Like-
Airdramons are huge.
yeah. Like I never really think about how big they are until I see them and like, wow, that's big.
Yeah, they're not snakes. They're
think-
giant.
Airdramon is not that big. I think I just thought it would be the same size as Airdramon for some reason.
Seadramon's really big. Bigger than an island. Bigger than like a bridge.
We do see Airdramon in like other seasons, and it's basically like not as tall as a house.
Yeah, weird. All right.
Like could probably fit in like inside, probably maybe not through a door, but definitely under a roof.
Okay.
And what about Warrior Monzemon, who is on Metal Edamon's belt? So we
yeah.
actually have seen him before.
It weirds me out that he's like because Monzemon's a good guy. This one's evil. Like that doesn't really make a lot of sense to me, but it's kind of cool. I honestly like his design more than Monzemon, who is just a teddy bear. I appreciate the play on that. It's like, oh, it's an evil teddy bear. Yeah, he's cool. There are more details about him, but I can't recall what they are. I think he's a bit busy in his
He's
design.
got Waru on his arm, which means evil.
Yeah, that's dumb. And also that.
He's got a scarf.
Oh yeah, because Waluigi. Yeah, I knew that.
Yeah.
Or Wario. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's okay. I like it visually, but it doesn't make a lot of sense in the world unless it's like an evil evolution, which I don't think happens unless you're the kids.
Yeah. Well, there was. I think. No. I was about to say I think it evolves into like there's another one that's called Pandamon that evolves from Monzemon, but no, Pandamon's just like another version of Monzemon. I think it's still a perfect level.
Right.
My mum likes Pandamon.
Of course she does. She likes Panda. For context for the listeners. All right, everybody, join us next time on Clanhead After Story, Joe's Battle.
Or, and this is really annoying, the title in the Japanese version, and you have to prepare yourself for this,
I am.
is called The Girls' Battle, Lady Devimon.
That's a completely different title.
Yeah, they change it to like, you can't focus on a girl, let's focus on Joe.
It's awful.
So I wonder how much focus on Joe there is really then.
And the Crest of Friendship.
or Paimon, the clown from hell.
I was really expecting it to say like, oh, Mimi's story.
Yeah, the Crest of Sincerity Part 2.
God, that would have been amazing. All right, everybody,
Anyway,
see you
so
next time.
the show notes are linked in the description, and we're actually recording the next episode early because Jay is going to be in New Zealand, so we're going to be recording it on Monday. So if you want us to respond to any questions regarding this episode, in the next episode, you'll have to get it in this weekend. See ya!
All right, see you, everybody.